The morning light in the hallway felt wrong, as if someone had adjusted the world's brightness by hand and gotten it slightly off. Ayan paused outside Sarah's door with a sinking feeling he couldn't name. The building was too quiet, not peaceful quiet, but watchful quiet, like every wall was leaning in to listen. Even the air had a weight to it, a humidity that shouldn't exist indoors. He knocked lightly, and the moment Sarah answered, he knew something had crossed a line. Her eyes were hollow, rimmed with red, as though she hadn't slept for days. Her skin looked paler in the filtered light. She stepped back silently, her expression somewhere between numbness and terror. The apartment's atmosphere felt denser than before, like a pressure system forming just behind the walls. Ayan felt almost unwelcome in a space that used to feel like home. Sarah didn't greet him, didn't explain, didn't ask anything. She simply lifted her shaking hand and pointed to the far wall. Ayan followed her trembling finger, expecting to see nothing. But instead, he froze. There, where he had seen bare concrete just hours ago, stood a door, old, wooden, swollen with age, its surface peeling like rotten bark. It didn't match anything in the apartment. It didn't match anything in the building. Its color wasn't paint, it was stained, darkened in uneven patches as though something had seeped through the wood. Even from where he stood, Ayan could sense it. The door had weight, presence, intent. He walked forward slowly, each step feeling heavier. Sarah whispered, "Ayan, this wasn't here. It was never here." Her voice cracked on the last word, filled with the panic she'd been holding in. The door didn't just look old, it looked tired, like it had held something back for a very long time. Ayan reached for the knob cautiously, noticing that the wood wasn't smooth like it appeared from afar. Up close it pulsed subtly, almost like the slow rhythm of breathing. His fingertips hovered over the cold metal, but before he touched it, the knob twitched. Not a creak, not a shift, a conscious, deliberate twitch. Ayan jerked his hand back as Sarah gasped. The knob turned again, slowly, bravely, and then the door opened by itself with a soft sigh, as though relieved. A blast of freezing air surged out and wrapped around them both, carrying a faint smell of rotting soil and something older, metallic, like blood left to dry for years. Sarah covered her mouth as her breath fogged instantly. The apartment temperature dropped by degrees in seconds. Inside the door, there was no room, no hallway, no structure that belonged to a building. The darkness inside was too thick, too deep, as if the interior wasn't a space at all, but an absence, a hollowed-out void. Ayan leaned slightly forward, squinting, but the blackness didn't behave like normal shadows. It moved. Slowly. Like ink stirred underwater, shapes drifting and dissolving, forming outlines that almost became human before fading again. He felt eyes, hundreds of them, blink open. Inside that dark, their attention was immediate, heavy, suffocating. Sarah whispered his name shakily, gripping his arm, but Ayan didn't look away. Something glimmered faintly inside, a metallic reflection catching a light source that didn't exist. And then a whisper crawled out of the darkness. "Don't look inside." But the voice came from everywhere and nowhere. The scratching began next, slow, quiet at first, coming from above the doorway inside the impossible room. It grew louder, sharper, like fingernails dragging across metal. Then something moved. A shape lowered itself from the ceiling, its long limbs stretching out like a spider unfolding after centuries of sleep. The figure emerged upside down, its body stiff, joints cracking softly. Its skin was pale and thin, stretched so taut it looked translucent. Where eyes should have been, there were only empty depressions, hollow pockets that seemed to drink the surrounding light. It didn't fall, it descended, slow and deliberate, as though attached to invisible strings. Sarah's knees buckled and clutched Ayan's arm like she was drowning. Ayan felt rooted to the floor. Every instinct screamed at him to run, yet his body remained frozen, captured by the thing's silent presence. The creature tilted its head slowly towards them, its neck stretching farther than any human bone should allow. It hovered just behind the border of the doorway, refusing to cross, as if bound by rules neither of them understood. The whisper came from its featureless face. "You opened the wrong door." This time the tone wasn't warning, it was hungry. The darkness behind it shifted, shapes forming and dissolving again like bodies floating beneath tar. Ayan grabbed Sarah's wrist and pulled her backward. The moment his movement broke the staring stillness, the creature twitched, a sharp snapping movement, as if ready to lunge. But it didn't. Instead, the door slammed shut with a force that shook dust from the ceiling, rattling the light fixtures. Every bulb in the apartment exploded at the same time, plunging them into darkness. Sarah screamed as electricity crackled from the broken lights. The apartment groaned, not the building, but the apartment itself, as though the walls had lungs and had just taken their first breath in years. Ayan dragged her toward the hallway, but the world around them warped. The walls rippled like fabric caught in wind. The corners of the ceiling bent downward, stretching like something inside them was pushing outward. The hallway door elongated, stretching taller, warping its frame until it looked like a passage into another dimension. The temperature plummeted again, making Ayan's skin ache. Behind them, the new door pounded violently, deep scratches forming on the wood from inside, long and ragged, scraping like claws carving a message they didn't want to read. Something inside wanted out, and it had noticed them. The apartment wasn't simply haunted, it was alive, shifting, resisting, breathing. Ayan felt it in the vibrations beneath his feet, in the tremble of the air, in the way his ears popped as though the room's pressure had changed. Sarah clung to him, barely able to stand, hyperventilating. The pounding behind the door grew faster, angrier. The shadows around them tightened, closing in like a noose. Ayan pulled Sarah down the warped hallway, each step feeling like walking through thick liquid. The air pulled back at them, resisting their movement. A crack split through the floor like lightning, crawling quickly towards them. The walls moaned again, bending inward as if preparing to swallow them whole. Just as Ayan reached for the hallway exit, a final whisper seeped through the apartment. Not from the creature, not from the shadows, but from the building. A deep, ancient voice that felt like it came from the structure's foundation itself. No one leaves once the wrong door opens.